A marketing manager has asked you to create a weekly dashboard for her to monitor social media trends and to ensure that money spent on different mediums is generating a minimum of 6 views a day. The dashboard should look like the following: the date, day of the week, and number of views for each medium. A small chart displaying each medium's weekly trend. The data is generated from the database query. You'll receive updated data at the start of every week for the prior week's views. Users will access the dashboard online as well as on mobile devices. If you open the social media data, you will see the sample data that you are going to use to create the dashboard. This is the end result of the dashboard. Alright, let's start to create our dashboard. I've already opened the Excel file that has the sample data that we are going to use, so let's dive in. The dashboard is the end product. However, we must first transform the raw data into the format in which graphics may be applied and allows the customer to perform the analytics requested. First, we'll create a pivot table to display the data in a tabular layout. Tabular data is typically at a granular level of detail. Each column contains a type of data. So I want you to select columns A to C. Can you guess why I selected columns instead of specific cells? By selecting columns instead of specific cells, we'll be preparing the dashboard to accept new data. When we receive a new week's worth of views, we can override our existing dataset and not have to make any additional changes. I hope that makes sense. Now from the ribbon, select the Insert tab and then the Pivot Table button. From the Create Pivot Table dialog box, check that the range is correct and columns A to C have been selected. Select the New Worksheet Radio button, click the OK button. The Pivot Table Fields pane appears on the right of your screen. Let's rename the new worksheet from Sheet 1 to Social Media Dashboard. Now in the Pivot Table Fields pane, select the following fields. Drag Medium and drop it to the Rows section. Drag Date and drop it into the Columns section. Drag View and drop it into the Values section. Our first pivot table is ready, and I'm going to modify it. Select cell J4. From the Design tab, find the Grand Totals drop-down arrow and click on it. I'll select the option On for columns only because I want to hide the grand total for now. Notice that the last row before the grand total is blank. Select the drop-down arrow for cell B3 labeled Column Labels and uncheck the box for blank. Press OK, and I hide this blank row. Now I'll be adding Sparklines to the dashboard to display the trend for the week. First of all, I want to make the column wider. Right-click on column I, select column width, set to 45, and click the OK button. Place your cursor in cell I5, and from the ribbon, select Insert tab. From the Sparklines section, select the line, and in the dialog box for data range, select cells B5 to H5. Click the OK button or press Enter. With cell I5 active, from the ribbon, select the Sparkline tab. In the Show section, click the Markers option. I want to check the Markers box because I want to highlight individual values in the Sparkline chart. Now select Copy or press Ctrl+C on your keyboard. Highlight cells from I6 to I11 and then press Ctrl+V or Paste on your keyboard. The Sparklines lines have been created for the cells. Press the Escape button on your keyboard, select I4, and then type Trend as a title. Next, we'll add visual indicators to assist the viewer with identifying mediums that are not generating a minimum of 6 views a day with the help of conditional formatting. Select the cells from B5 to H10, and from the Home tab, click on the Conditional Formatting drop-down arrow. And from the Highlight Cells rules, select the option Less Than. For the format cells that are less than, enter the value of 6. Leave this light red fill color and click the OK button. Look at that. The cells with less value than 6 have been highlighted with this light red color. Select again the cells from B5 to H10. From the ribbon, select Home, and then the Conditional Formatting button. From icon sets, click these indicator symbols. We are not finished yet. Again, from the Conditional Formatting drop-down arrow, select Manage Rules. Highlight the icon set rule and click the Edit Rule button. The first step is to change the type to a number. The pivot table values are numbers, not percentages. The next step is to change the value to 6. Remember, I want a visual indicator only when the value number is less than 6. So click the drop-down arrow for when value is and select the No Cell icon. Click the drop-down arrow when less than 6 and select No Cell icon. Click the OK button, click the Apply button to see the result, then click OK. Great! Lastly, we'll format the dashboard to improve readability. Let's rename the cell A3 to Daily Views. Rename cell A4 to Medium, and rename cell B3 to Day. Rename cell A11 to Total. Now, change the font to bold and select cell I4 and center your content. Select row 2, right-click and select Delete. Select cell A1 and type Social Media Trends. Select cell A1, change the font to bold, size 22, and merge and center across columns A to I. Now select cells from A3 to I10. Click the Borders drop-down arrow and choose the option All Borders. Select cells A2 to I3 and choose the font shading option of your choice. I'll choose this gold color. Select cells A10 to H10 and choose a font shading option of your choice. I'll choose the same. Select rows 4 to 10, right-click and select Row Height. When prompted, enter the row height value 30. Click the OK button. From the View tab, remove the grid lines. You can fill with a color that you want. Now to move to the query worksheet. We are required to display the most recent week's data and not a cumulative view. The process to override the data is similar to appending, however, with the additional step of deleting the existing data before adding the new records. When overriding records, always make sure to completely delete all of the old data before adding new information. The process of removing the old information and adding the new can be completely manually or automatically using VBA or Visual Basics for applications. I'll change the first cells with random values. Now return to the dashboard worksheet. Select a cell in the pivot table, and from the pivot table, Analyze tab, click the Refresh drop-down arrow and select Refresh All. Congratulations! You have finished your dashboard. We've met the customer's requirements for building a weekly dashboard displaying the date, day of the week, and a number of views for each medium and each medium's weekly trend. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Bye!